I mean, how horrible a noise are we talking?
You know how you hit the wrong button when you have another window open? It makes that pring noise, and then you're holding the
Yes.
button down for just like half a second, so it repeats it like a million times.
So that's what's on our recording now. Is what you're telling
It's
me?
on the it's on the local recording, not the live recording, which we just went
Oh, okay.
officially live. So they just came. We just talked in with me talking about a pring noise. We're good to go.
Well, that's good.
Welcome to the stream.
You should be able to clip this out, like go into Twitch and edit
No, we're doing it live.
it. Okay.
Fuck it! I'm doing it live!
Hardcore
Doing it
mode.
live.
We die like
Yep.
men.
Yep, that's on the thing now.
But I have
Alright.
boobs.
We die like men with boobs.
Oh, this got really pornographic.
Well, welcome to.
That did not take long. Welcome to Aderjaeger, another adventure in 15th century Germany. Last week, well, actually, 2 weeks ago, our party went about making some money for themselves and finding resources in the town of Forsheim. They had successfully found several guards, made a little bit of money, defended their stock for the most part. What else? You all haven't found porters yet, but
We
you
did
had
find
guards.
caravan guards.
You do have caravan guards, and you have a lot more than 4/5 of a guard now.
Yeah, we've got 5 4/5.
So, what would you say that would be?
5.8.
We got 5.8 guards. I mean, I feel like poor Edward Storch is just kind of left out there.
I'd go with
guards.
5.5, because he's
Five-
drunk.
No, 0.8 is more than a half.
He's worth at least 1.2, I think.
Have you
He's
seen
a
the
pretty
balls
lovely
on that
guy.
guy?
Yeah, he's a pretty lovely guy.
There. Can we all
Round up to
We all
6.
can we all agree with that?
Yes, 5
And a
guards and a
badass
badass cripple. Yep.
Okay.
I'll take
there
it.
we go.
Sold.
On board.
Done.
5 horses. You got 1 good working cart. And you... Who wrote first?
Oh shit! I forgot to delete that. I'm sorry. I am a piece of
Somebody-
trash.
Oh, it deleted all of the data.
No! Is there an edit
Oh,
to do? I was gonna go
no.
delete it. I'm a horrible person.
Oh, wow.
We can go back into the stream and see what it
Well, that's
does.
Well-
going to happen between things. I
I'm
know you
going
have
to my time
78,000-ish gold.
It was.
Sorry.
I'm pretty sure it was. Oh god.
Well,
Who did it?
you all lost everything. I'm sorry. Someone stole you while you were sleeping.
I know we had two barrels of black bile,
2 barrels of black bile, 19 shards.
like 270 pounds of raw armor plate.
Yes.
5 horses.
Of course, Darby knows the horse.
270
Shut
pounds
the fuck
of raw
up,
plate.
okay? I'm
Good
trying to help, Kayla.
How are you going to pay us back for all this, Darby?
Sorry. I have
She's
to
gonna
go
use
back to
boobs.
my life of prostitution.
It's welcome to the.
I think we had
uh,
8 shards, something like that.
No, you. Oh.
19
No, you had
shards.
19.
No, we
had
but you haven't
19.
sold them yet.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
we
right,
have
we
We're
had-
not sold
actually
them yet.
working on that.
That's right.
Okay.
Can we just put Samuel under porters?
No.
Aw.
Person. You're mixing up 2 other games that have a character with the name Samuel and/or Porter involved. There's not one in Aderjaeger.
It's almost like all these GMs
Not
are like
yet.
friends.
Plus, we killed Samuel Porter in your campaign.
Yeah, you
Just
kind of
set
beat
his
him to
fucking
death.
head on fire.
No, that was Marco.
You're right. You're right.
Anyways.
Okay. So you all have gotten a good night's rest. And I've just finished filling all that back in.
Sorry.
So, where would you all like to start your new day? You have a few
In the
priorities.
corner of shame.
A few things to get to today. You need to hire some porters. You need to resupply yourself with food and beverage. You have your shards that you could still sell if you want. And you might want to hire some more carts. Where would you like to start?
So we know there's miners, but they're a couple days away from town, right?
Well, yeah, they left the miners and refugees left town. Although we could probably still string together some day workers and day tailors for porters, just people that would be willing to make a living.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Yeah, you're currently in Forsheim. Most of the miners have already headed south to Call.
I guess that's where they went.
They left about 2 days ago. Just about the time you were finally getting Snurgles pieced to... I'm sorry, the Adder pieced together. Must not refer to Adders by their out-of-character names.
Don't call him by his maiden name.
I can tell you right now, it's really not going to be worth it chasing after the miners. Well, they would have been useful. Making a 2-day trek just to find some day laborers is not a good use of our time.
If they were on the way, that'd be nice. But
Well, we still need to sell some of the shards. As Jay already said, carts would be a good investment, as well as porters. So that's kind of our to-do list. And then we're really going to need supplies for the road, food, water, ale, etc. The question is, what do we want to go after first?
I feel like, you could probably knock out porters and carts in the same go. I'm guessing they kind of hang out in the same district.
Probably. If you're finding day laborers, you're going to find people who've got carts. How many carts do we actually want, though? Because as a small company...
At this stage.
Yeah.
I mean, more than one.
You have enough horses for 2 carts, and then you have an extra horse.
And if we bought one more horse, we could go for 3 carts.
You go for 3 carts.
Are those horses not counting the ones that we're specifically riding on?
Yeah, these are company horses.
Gotcha. Just checking.
Also, are we still planning on, because I know 78,000 is a lot, but not a lot, so are we still planning on getting any Clipper Penzrong?
I think we still were, but I think we were also planning on going through and seeing what supplies we would get for the company first before we worry about armor upgrades.
Fair enough.
And didn't we have like an inn for like who we could sell shards to?
Brita had gotten in good with the engineering guild, and they're most likely the ones who are going... Well, she hadn't gotten in good with them. She had spoken to them.
I spoke to a door.
Well, and the door spoke
They
back.
threw money at her. Quite literally.
I got waved at by an anonymous hand.
They didn't yell at her like they yelled at Jurgen, so
I mean,
there's that.
wait, who's yelled at Jurgen?
That was the craftsman guild,
Yeah, and even then,
or whichever the processing
Collectors
guild,
Guild.
processing collectors, whatever. One of those.
Collectors Guild, but they were upset mostly because they expected to be paid on delivery, and because it wasn't negotiated with them that they should be paid after the fact.
Yeah, I don't think it was specifically to do with Jurgen.
Yeah, it wasn't Jurgen's fault necessarily.
He actually wasn't even that hostile about that, so.
No, he was quite happy to take more than it actually would have cost him if you all just paid him in cash. Convenience fees.
yep. Alright, but still we need to talk about what are we going to handle right away. I'm honestly thinking let's get rid of the shards, because these are easy to steal, and the longer we hold on to them, the more likely we are to get targeted by pickpockets or more thieves.
And how many are we holding on to? Because aren't we going to upgrade some of our? weaponry.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Jay, this is a bit of out of character knowledge, and you can go ahead and tell me that this is metagaming. But about how much would we need to upgrade to Aderjaeger?
We had already decided how many we were going to keep of the shards before. I don't
Yeah, but that was-
remember what the amount was.
That was 2 weeks ago. That's why I'm
I
asking
think we had
Jay a
thought
couple
like
questions.
one per person. Was that? I think is what we had
Yeah, I
said.
think that was that. But anyways, Jay, would it be metagaming if I knew how much we would need to upgrade it?
The thing is, it depends on different weapons are going to require different amounts.
Okay.
You know, some things require a small amount of shards because they only have fairly small parts that require it. Other things, it's kind of one of the central parts of it. You know.
Yeah.
So what about the arquebus?
You'll have to ask the gunsmith.
Yeah.
Sorry. That is a bit of a metagaming question.
Yeah, no problem.
Then in that case, I think we go with our original plan of 1 per person, and keep 5 shards.
I can tell you, you probably won't be using more than 3 per. But you
3
will
per
get
person.
a chance. Well, yeah, 3 per item. But you will you'll be able to acquire shards a hell of a lot more easily than cores.
Gotcha.
Not only is getting them from adders easier, but there's lots of things in the world that have been corrupted by shards.
Gotcha.
And that includes just regular trees. So it's something you'll more likely be able to find or barter for.
I don't know then. Because you said shards are worth, what, 20,000 each?
Again, like any of the materials, it's a commodity, so it
Right,
depends
but-
really who's willing to pay. In a big town, you'll probably make less money than in a small town. Because obviously
It's got more
there's
access to
more
it.
people selling here. Yeah, there's more people willing to buy it. It'll move quicker. Generally, people go for more mass market kind of things. But in a small town where there really is no competition, yeah, you might be able to get 10, 20,000. And actually, I think it's 10,000, not 20,000.
That's really what I wanted to know, was the sort of MSRP on shards.
In a small town, up to 10,000. Here in Forsheim, anywhere from probably 1 to 5. Because there's so many here. You've almost got a surplus.
Then why don't we actually keep how many shards we sell down to a minimum? In fact, actually, let's hold on to our shards.
We don't necessarily need to sell any right now, right? Like,
Yeah, for right
And
now
they're
is
easy
kind
to
of what I'm.
transport, right?
Yeah, well, they're like, you could fit it in your pocket.
That's what I
Yeah.
figured, yeah. Okay, sorry, keep going.
Yeah, then I'm gonna go ahead and rescind what I said about selling these as quick as we can to avoid pickpockets. We might be able to hold on to these and get a better price down the line.
I do have to ask, if you store them in your pockets, this is going to sound dumb, but will your pants turn into, like, an adder monster?
Adders?
Adder-
Shards
pants!
Shards can only corrupt living tissue. Now, long
What if you
term,
have pants
wearing
made
on
of
your
hide?
It's not
It's dead.
living
Oh.
tissue. Yeah. It has to at least have well, the thing is hide is tanned, right? It's really been processed.
Mhm.
If it was raw leather, it would have no way of moving. But I guess you could I guess I could see the argument for a shard corrupted like buckskin shawl or something silly like that. It wouldn't be able to do anything.
I've
Insert the
decided I
next
want living
monster in this
pants.
camp.
I want living pants.
I'm sorry, Jay. I didn't mean to.
I mean,
I
no,
want
I
living
mean,
pants.
I mean, they'd be living in only the most basic sense of living, in the sense that I think you might be able to no, I think it would be such low. It'd be like, it's kind of like shards corrupting plants. It happens, but it really doesn't accomplish much.
Yeah, but
You
then
know?
I'll have a friend.
No, not really.
Yes,
You're actually
yeah.
much more likely to become wall-shot because of it.
Well,
I
I'll
mean,
have a friend.
if
for
it
the
started
small
to-
plan time.
If it started to mutate, it would literally start bleeding on you.
Well, my friend has problems, but so do I. We accept each other.
I mean,
I'm going back
not
into
gonna
my
get in your
timeout
way.
corner.
Yes.
Not gonna get in your way, just pointing it out that
I will get in your way.
it is
That's
seen as corruption and heresy in most places.
Yeah, that's gonna get Jurgen to hang you from a tree. Fair warning.
Oh, I wasn't talking about Brita. I was talking about Darby.
Oh well, there's a difference.
Oh god, you're still gonna get hung from a tree.
Probably.
So, that's been a lot of discussion and very little actually solved.
Sorry.
Yup. Okay. Well, I think
imagine
it's
you
fair
all
to
are taking a very leisurely breakfast at this point.
yeah. As much as I think we've come to the conclusion, let's hold on the shards for now and see where our funds end up as we buy more supplies. Agreed?
Yes. I mean, yeah.
Any disagreement? Okay, moving on from the shards then. Porters and carts. Maybe another horse. Are we gonna handle that first?
I mean, there's no sense that we can't. Now that we actually have guards, we could probably split up a little more, and we can talk to the innkeeper and see where she gets her supplies for food, and maybe strike a deal up with.
At
where
the
our
bare
supplies
minimum,
are.
we're gonna need the cart to be able to buy the supplies.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
For food. Yeah, we'll take the cart for food and ale.
Alright, then we probably should get at least one more cart, preferably two, and another horse.
Sounds like a good choice. You can probably buy food directly from the inn.
Oh, well. Problem solved.
Food and ale, that's pretty easy. You need to tell me how much you want to bring. More
Enough
than...
to feed roughly 20 people for,
Okay.
yeah, I don't know. Because how many porters are we thinking about picking up?
We were gonna stick with max company size of 20, so 10.
Okay, so yeah, 20 people.
You probably need about... I'm trying to remember the math. About 5 pounds of food a day per person.
If I'm going to set my rations to meager, what can we...
Well, I mean, that's what you need to let me know. I
And
mean,
the pace,
how
food
light
fast.
do you want to make these journeys?
Did this suddenly become the Oregon Trail?
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking.
that's what I was,
That's
that's what I was
Yes,
trying
it
to
did.
By the way, Jurgen died of dysentery.
Oh my god.
At least he ends up a saint.
He's the saint of dysentery.
Yes, he is.
The
Well, 'cause we're
miracle was he
making a-
stayed in the campaign this long.
Because how far is this trip that we're making to... I forget the name of the town.
We still haven't decided where we're going.
Yeah,
We're in
character,
Forsheim.
There's still a lot of discussion on that.
Well, out of character, what was even the name? Stuttgart. I'm
It's,
not pronouncing it right.
where your character is from.
Right. I just didn't remember the actual name of the place, but I knew what it was. Out of character, is that kind of what we were thinking, or did anyone else have any other plans?
Somebody had
Yeah.
mentioned.
Yeah, that's a good idea because I think out of character, we discussed that the main capital outer place is best when we've got kind of a name for ourselves.
I don't think that's the main outer place.
No, the one
No,
south.
the one south. We're not going
Gotcha.
to Stuttgart. Stuttgart is not. Jesus Christ.
What?
Not you
Addershield
guys,
is
sorry.
Aderjaeger Valhalla, basically, is where...
Addershield.
Yeah, that one.
It's as the crow flies, it's a 7-day trip, but yeah, that's not gonna. You can't go as the crow flies.
So yeah, I think we need to make a name for ourselves anyway before we...
Mhm.
I'm confused. Are we going to the?
We're going to start...
We're going to
Okay, okay.
Stuttgart.
That okay. All right. Sorry, I was confused.
So it's about a 5-day trip.
Yes, roughly. Every 10 miles is about a day.
I would
It's
probably-
going to be probably a little bit more depending on hazards and whatnot you face along the way.
Yeah, we would probably want to pack up at least
Bring
a
like
week
a-
and a
at
half
least-
worth of food.
Yeah,
so,
like 10 days worth of
Yeah,
rations.
10 days worth of rations. But we still need to get the men to carry the food and the carts to hold the food.
Right. Well,
I mean, Brita can probably work on recruiting people because, social character.
Well, it shouldn't be too hard all that much. Just
yeah, we just need to
say
get.
what you'd like to do and
Okay, I figure that we should just go. Let's go take care of the porters and carts, then the food and supplies, and then we could probably head out from there.
Okay, it's a good plan. Jurgen's gonna go to the church and see if he can find any refugees or anyone seeking the church's services if they'd be willing to get some work.
And I
sorry
guess
about
I'll tack along with the cart crew to see if I can find a horse.
that.
All right.
For
Well,
a discount horse, please.
yeah. While you were
Yeah.
kind of distracted, Jay, I said Jurgen's gonna go to the church and see if he can find any refugees or other people seeking asylum with the church, if they'd be willing to work as day laborers for us. Or,
Okay.
well, porters, but
Elena would probably go with Brita.
Now I have to ask. You say you're going to the church.
Yes.
That's a broad statement. Are you going just to a local church? Are you going to try to find a convent or something else?
Jurgen's
Let-
probably
let
gonna
me-
go make the rounds of the local churches and see who is just looking for the poor and disaffected who are either receiving food and shelter in the church, or otherwise.
Okay. This is kind of before you'd have too much of an organized list in that. That's the problem. The poor and disaffected are all over town. They don't just live at the church.
Okay.
Would they get dinner or lunch there, or typically?
Not really. Those that were given sort of, additional. Basically, the church does outreach, where they'll go out into the town and feed the poor. Sometimes there are monasteries, of course, where people that are poor join because it's better to live in the service of the Lord than to starve in the street, kind of a thing. They occasionally give out, if someone comes to them and says, I need this, I need that, but you don't really see... The church would never allow, for example, beggars to flood the
Right.
courtyards in front of their churches.
Right, in that case, then I think what I'll have Jurgen do is he will join one of the outreach groups, heading out, if he can, into the streets with, foods and care for the poor, and see if, while tending to the poor, he can also offer them work and salvation.
Sure. Give me a sanguine roll. That sounds persuasive to me.
You did it.
You succeeded. I mean, I don't understand.
Good,
Yeah.
Good job.
I mean, that's still my -1, but hey, I'm not gonna complain.
I mean,
Check your
could
experience.
you?
I did. I mean, I could if I really wanted to.
yeah, the church is willing to accept another hand. They're a little suspicious at first because you're kind of, you're not necessarily of the order that operates generally in Forsheim. You're from out of town. They don't know you. But you don't see. You're not asking for access to anything that they would be super concerned about, and they could always use an extra hand. You are unfortunately going to be kind of forced into some fairly hard labor. The church doesn't have any additional carts or horses that they can spare. They're actually out helping one of the local monasteries put up a new barn and farming equipment just outside of Forsheim. But they do have plenty of heavy cast iron pots that you can carry. Generally full of, I wouldn't say soup so much as sort of
Gruel.
Yeah.
no, gruel is actually really not.
Fortified broth?
I can't remember the name for the German equivalent dish, but you all know what gnocchi is, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're little dumplings and broth, basically. It's filling, but it's not, gruel. Kind of a thing. So basically, it's like a venison broth with these, like, small bread dumplings. And they're sort of handing that out. They've got probably half the people there are just carrying warm pots. Because there's so many people that need the food. The rest are sort of organizing crowds, and they're kind of create sort of an improvised soup line when they reach sort of disaffected areas. You're probably going to be spending all day doing this. Is someone else with you, or...
Does anybody want to help me come do God's work?
I will come do God's work out of obligation.
All right,
Aren't
give
you-
me a helping roll, then Rita.
What am I rolling?
That'd be sanguine.
Oh.
But you're only going to add...
Oh,
Okay,
that's not as good as I thought.
let me take a look here at these, the helping rolls here, the 7 to 9 here. I think you just directly, helping Henry, a 10 plus, you add or subtract to the roll, and so now MC will name a cost. Okay. Yeah, okay, I will allow you to assist, but you're going to lose 10 gold from pickpocketers.
Oh, rip. Alright, fine.
You're attractive enough to become a target.
Oops. Too much boobs.
Yes, in a sense.
That's what you get for storing your gold in your boobs. When people reach to grope you, they just find coin instead.
Oops.
You don't have Zygmunt there to punch people to death. When it happens, unfortunately. Okay, then, let's see here. Give me 1d12.
Who?
Locus?
Oh,
Locus.
Locus.
He's the primary. 9, so yeah, you're able to convince 9 porters to join you. If
Okay.
you want all of them, of course.
Honestly, guys, I think 9's going to be a good number, because that's going to put our company at exactly 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, porter
Alright.
problem solved. That's going to be me and Brita's day, though.
Yeah, that is pretty much you'll be working from probably 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning until sunset.
Okay, so who's going to be handling the procurement of carts and supplies?
I guess the rest of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna get food and ale from the inn, so that's fine. So we just need to get basically carts and replacement parts for the carts and all that other fun stuff.
And a horse.
You need one more horse and,
And a horse.
2 more carts?
I think that's the goal. Yeah. If we can, yep.
And did we, how are we going to decide how much food to get? Because we don't know that the number is going to be, the magic number is 20 yet. Like our group anyway.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
we
in
got
character it
the
was
end, though.
decided.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is
Jurgen is kind of being your accountant, so that was kind of in character that he...
Yeah, we were
Side
talking
of
about that. We wanted to get enough rations for 10 days on the road, since it's probably going to be 5 days to Stuttgart, but we want to keep a
10 days for how many people and how, at what rate?
5 pounds per person. Don't know
Right.
the rate yet, but that's basically going to be 5 pounds per person for 10 days is going to be 50 pounds of food.
Oh, what I'm basically
We're
getting
at
at
like
is,
10 miles
is-
a day. I mean, it's not super fast paced by any means.
is that because you're recruiting those 9 people, like off to the side, we don't know how many people you're recruiting. So
Well, we're not
I'm
buying.
just trying to.
We're not
we're not
buying
buying
food
food
yet.
yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was kind of
We're
out
gonna-
of character, talking about how much food we're realistically going to need. But that'll come later. Right now, a cart and horses are the big concern. Well,
Gotcha.
carts and horse.
Remember, though, that 50 pounds is per person. So
Right.
at 20 people, that's...
100 pounds a day.
So, well, that's a lot more than 100 pounds a day.
Wait, 20 people. You said 5 pounds?
But yeah, it's 100 pounds. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about all together. I'm like, it's a lot more than that.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
yeah. Yeah, 100 pounds per day. And
It'd
So
be
that's
about a
1,000
ton of
pounds
food.
yeah,
Yeah.
1,000 pounds of food total, yeah.
And that's not including ale.
Nope.
1,000 pounds of ale.
Oh god.
That's a good question. How much ale do you want to?
Well, how much you're allowing to give Berthold, because he'd go through that pretty fucking quick.
Oh
I
god.
think
Can we
that's the
please
question.
just
is
get?
How many gallons can each of the Aderjaegers?
More realistically, the area that we're going towards, would it be metagaming to ask, like, are we going to come across safe local water sources?
Oh,
Is
that's
it a
definitely-
relatively...
That's not metagaming at all. Water is fairly plentiful. You've got a huge amount of, rainwash basin. You've got rivers. This is pre-industrial, so water would not be super difficult. Now, you can make it easier on yourself by following a river, but certainly, even in the mountains, you'll be able to find small streams, or if you're willing to, you might be able to dig a well. Of course, that takes more time. All sorts of choices. But this is a fairly wet area.
Seems like we would probably not need all that much ale then.
You know what we really need? A horse and 2 carts.
Yeah. So can we should move on to that discussion.
It might be.
How do you-
Yeah.
How would you like to do that? What method would you like to do? Wandering in circles? Asking locals? Standing on a street corner and yelling at people?
Probably asking locals.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, there was that guy that came. There's that group that came by and just repaired our cart.
Yeah.
Can we just like go meet with them?
Not really. They didn't
Oh.
exactly stick around.
Oh,
They
okay.
weren't
No, like
local.
okay. We didn't get a name or anything.
No, Jurgen just kind of hired a guy off the street, and he happened to be fairly good at what he was doing by chance.
Oh,
Yay!
Like, literally, Jurgen kind of took a risk on that. But it worked out. It worked out. He was pretty good. So the question becomes,
Yeah,
if
I
you're
guess-
going to ask, that
yeah.
would
Let's
be
ask around.
that would be persuasive.
Yep.
So, Sanguine.
Son of a bitch.
No one can understand Zygmunt because of his thick accent.
God damn.
Okay, guys, you gotta understand. One person rolls,
Oh,
and then someone can
oh.
help.
Oh, sorry.
Unless you all are going in 3 separate directions. If you're going 3 separate directions, I will allow all 3
Spot
rolls.
hidden.
No.
I'll give you 3 different encounters.
No need to probably make it that complicated.
No, I mean, I'm doing it. Not a big deal. It's just one of those things where generally, if as your group, someone is going to take the, I don't want to say the lead role, but someone is going to take the initiative. They're going to roll. You all can then roll to assist.
Well, Zygmunt's the leader, so it probably makes sense for him to.
Well, that,
Well, he's
that
the
worked out.
Einführen.
That worked out super well.
He basically goes out and starts asking people, and they are just kind of like, what do you say?
Oh, good lord.
Elena seems to be making a little headway, but she also seems to get maybe the wrong kind of attention. Like,
For
Instead
carts
of-
asking?
well, they're like, hey, I know a place. You can tell these guys do not look trustworthy.
Is it like a cart chop shop where they put 6 spinners on the rims?
Maybe.
Zygmunt eventually just throws up his hands like, Berthold, these are your people. Talk to them.
I mean, this is where I'm confused because he's already got a 12 here. So
Yeah.
this is where it gets confusing. Who are you modifying this roll for, Cog? Whose role do you want to modify? If you
Well-
give the +2 to Zygmunt, he counts as succeeds partially.
I think that even a +2 to Elena
Yeah.
would just
That'd be a 9,
um,
yeah. It'd still be.
but
a
it's still
16
just like
partial.
that. I'll do it for Zygmunt because the people that are already attracted to Elena are trying to are shysters probably, and so he would start helping Zygmunt by actually speaking the local language, which is likely German.
Right.
Yes. Nope, French. No, I'm just kidding. No. it's German. With your help, you're actually people actually start, at least stopping and listening to what you're asking. Before there was not much of an attempt at even comprehending. They just did not recognize the language and walked on by. One guy actually stops and says, well, it's not in town, but outside of town there's a farmer who's selling some older carts. And of course you could always talk to the Collectors Guild. They sometimes sell their old carts.
Out of character, guys. The Collectors Guild does not fucking like us.
They have
Meanwhile,
better cards
Elena
that
is
we-
like, no, I don't want a cart with 5 spinners.
But it's 8 wheels! It's got 8 wheels! Don't you want a cart with 8 wheels?
We'll go.
4 horses!
Let's go check out this out of town.
It might not be a bad idea to at least check in with the Collectors Guild and see if, because their metal carts might be able to carry outer parts a little bit better.
Actually, good point.
Out of character, is it that they don't like us or
We-
they
we
don't
have-
like you
we
again?
have a-
Because I thought
We
they
have a
like.
-1 relationship with.
The
Whatever
group has a -1, which
Yeah.
just modifies the regular roll.
Oh, okay, all right.
A -1 is not the end of the world as far as things are concerned. They are not. You're not on the best terms, but it's not like they would attack you on sight or anything
Right.
silly like that. You're just kind of. They're not going to give you the prime deal if you talk to them. Now that
Okay.
said, they'll still do business with you. You just probably won't get as much leeway with them. But a metal cart from the Collectors Guild would be quite valuable because it's effectively an armored cart. Which you're not going to find at a farm.
Yeah, good, Zygmunt. Let's go to. They may not care much for us after the negotiations, but I'm sure we can charm. He can charm that pants off.
I'd like to keep their pants on.
We'll see if that comes to that.
Alright. So you're heading towards the Collectors Guild?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So.
The Collectors Guild is actually in the southern part of town. If Brita was here, she could take you right to it, but you'd probably have to spend a few minutes going down back alleys and finding the streets and whatnot until you pull up into a fairly... you walk into a fairly large compound with a big steel gate. It's one of the very few places in town that has this kind of a almost walled courtyard design. And there is a sign with basically an adder core on it and barrels painted on the front of it. No words, simply because with the amount of languages that get pushed through town, especially in this part of the country, sometimes images are better than words.
I think we lost Jay.
Yep, hello?
Yeah,
Hello?
I heard.
I
Back
can
in
hear
town.
him.
I can hear Jay just fine.
Oh, what? No, it's me, I guess.
Yeah.
It may have been the storm.
Maybe.
No, I heard
There's
him
a
just
sign
fine.
with an adder core and barrels on it.
Yeah,
because
I heard
Okay.
you cut off at the word sometimes. I don't really.
Sometimes it's better to have a picture than words.
Okay. Oh, all right. Got it.
So the door there's the large gate, obviously, which is metal, but you're pretty sure might be hard to hear you're knocking on it. And of course there are smaller doors for businesses and whatnot. I assume you go in. Are you gonna huddle beforehand?
Yeah.
Anything you want to do before you walk into their offices?
I got nothing. Just want to walk
Okay,
in.
cool.
Yeah.
So you go inside. The first room looks a lot like you'd kind of imagine sort of a financial institution. You've got sort of a long, wide desk that's separated behind two locked metal doors. And at that desk is a counter with a very large book on it. And the person that's standing behind the counter is sort of scribbling notes into the margins, looks up and says, "Yes, can I help you?"
Yes, my friend. Our time in Forest is coming to an end, but before we leave, we would like to know if you are interested in selling any of your used carts.
Well, we do have two older carts. They're, unfortunately succumbing to the elements, but they still have quite a bit of life left in them. Much more sturdy than, well, a traditional wood cart, but unfortunately there is a little bit of rust. Nothing that can't be dealt with or swept out, of course.
Of course. And how much would you be asking for one of these carts
Kind
in their
of.
current state?
Well, let's take a look at them first.
As you say that, the person behind the counter kind of looks up and looks down the book. Of course. What was your group's name by chance?
I got
Got
to
the demo
demo
wrong.
wrong. That's the word.
Ah, yes, there was a recent entry on that. And he kind of flips the book open, and he has to go. He seems to be flipping between two pages, and he brings it over. There's sort of a quiet stillness between the two groups as he kind of stands there as if he's reading a fairly lengthy section or rereading it. And he goes, "Yes, He seems upset. Almost like he doesn't really want to show you right now. I'm not sure a group with your provenance could maintain such a view."
Who has the best sanguine roll here?
Well, I think you do. I've got a 0. Elena has a -1, and you have a
Yep.
1.
Should have brought tits.
They did. They're just not good enough.
No,
We know.
Well, I guess I'll try.
Yeah.
Berthold will try his hand. Good, so we at least I know my way around the forge a bit. I don't think you have to worry about us not being able to take care of the carts that much.
Well, partially succeeds. He kind of stops for a second and he eyes you up and down, looks over to your compatriots. Okay. Well, yes, right this way. And he motions to a side door to the office, not one of the two metal ones, but a smaller wooden door. And he steps down off a little step stool and kind of disappears. Like this counter was not that high, and when he gets down off his stool, he's gone. A few minutes later, the large metal door next to the stand, you hear multiple clicks and clacks, and the large door swings open, revealing a fairly short man. More specifically, almost improperly sized from the waist, pretty much from the shoulders down. If he was sitting at the desk, it'd be very difficult to tell he was not so small, but now standing up, you can tell he's maybe 4 foot at the highest.
Jay just blatantly ripping off of Harry Potter.
Anyway, the man walks over, motions through the door, and as you walk outside, there's a very busy exchange of workers walking back and forth. Large barrels being moved around. In fact, you recognize at least 2 of them from earlier in the day, at least the other day. There is probably 1 million rice golden worth of adder material in this lot. You can see why it's so heavily protected. you kind of have to walk quite a while. Of course, they don't keep their older carts as close to the main gate simply because they're not used. After a while, you kind of get out to a muddy patch around the backside of one of the buildings, and there's two fairly rust-red carts. I mean, they're made out of quite thick metal, so some surface rust is certainly not harming it, but they do kind of look like rusty pieces of shit.
Can I, because of his ironworks and everything, could I roll a melancholic to see if Bert holds? Cool.
Go for it. I'm assuming you like bang on the metal and whatnot and check thickness and things.
Oh.
You can't really tell. The rust kind of hides a lot of the thing. You don't see any significant scale, which is a good sign, you think. But as far as the actual condition, they both seem to be fairly equal.
Berthold, do you mind if I give it a look? I'm a little bit more familiar with these types of carts.
Oh, by all means, if you think, these steps aside.
Elena would take a step up and then start looking. God damn it.
6 is for everybody.
Same thing. It seems neither one seems like it'd be much of a problem. The rust is definitely prevalent and covering most of the surfaces, but as far as being any kind of structural weakness, it's very hard to tell.
Well, I say we're not going to be able to find metal carts like this anywhere else around here, so I say we go for it. If we have to run any issues with them, well, we're more likely to be able to find a wooden cart as a replacement if need be, but I think these will hold up. The guild must build them well to be able to last long, given how much adder parts they have to hold.
This guild has its reputation to think of. They're not going to sell us something that it will be easily broken down. And he said it himself before he even spoke with us, that these were very good carts. They just looked in rough shape.
Well, if you both say so.
Definitely! Yeah!
Yeah!
Sure, that's all true information they just said.
Yep. Sigmund then turns to the tiny man. So, considering the outer shape of these, what were you thinking is a fair price?
Well, we typically sell them for about 5,800 apiece, but seeing as it's you, we're gonna need that up front.
Can Elena, I don't know, read his expression to see if he's bullshitting them?
Of course, I guess.
Would it
Are
be...
you saying, does he normally, you're trying to tell if the price that he quoted that they normally sell them at is accurate?
Yes.
Go ahead.
What rule would that be? Calculating or reflexive or... Okay.
No, 5,800 is... Well, okay, let me re-emphasize. His expression says quite plainly that is the truth. You'd have to actively go through their sales receipts to tell if that's really true, but it is, as far as he's concerned, that is a fair price. That said, he also said, since it's you all, that he's going to want the cash first.
Would we know what the typical price is for wooden carts?
Not 5,800, I can tell you that much.
so
Probably
not
100, 200. A lot less than a horse, I'll tell you that much.
What skill would you need? Like would anybody who has a metalworking skill know how much a metal cart might be?
I could try and.
Could
I
we...
wouldn't say anyone with a metalworking skill would know how to build a metal cart. I mean, you could probably get a good estimate of the materials cost, but the construction cost is different.
Could we go back to that forge that we had been at before and ask them if they mind appraising the carts prior to purchasing them? That's like a reasonable thing, I think, for most
You
people
can certainly
to do.
ask.
Given this is such a large investment, sir, would it be fair to ask that we have one of our blacksmiths take a look at it prior to purchase?
Considering your group's hesitance to pay on time, no, I would not allow that. The carts will stay here.
What if we? I'm sorry, I misspoke. That was not clear. What I was asking is if we can bring a blacksmith here.
You doubt the price I'm quoting you on a custom-designed metal cart?
No, not at all. What I'm wondering is how much it will cost us in addition to repair the damage associated with the cart. Given it looks like it's mostly exterior, I'm not well versed in the art of blacksmithing, so it makes sense to have somebody far more experienced take a look.
The guy kind of looks at you a little strangely. Mostly because most blacksmiths... A blacksmith can build a lot of things. They're amazingly talented and diverse smiths. This wasn't built by just a blacksmith. This was sort of built by a specialist and put together by multiple craftsmen in various different, disciplines. He kind of is unsure whether you're trying to scam him. So, can you give me a roll for your most convincing face?
Here we go.
Oh, yep.
That's a very convincing face. I suppose so, but I should warn you, we do sell these things quite quickly. So I would not tarry.
Certainly, sir. Thank you so much.
I assume you can find your way out?
Of course. And Elena would give him her best smile and turn around and walk out, waiting on
Short
the
man
others.
just kind of stands by the carts and watch you all as you leave.
In the meantime, while some of us fetch a blacksmith, maybe we should pay a visit to the farmer. We still need a horse. And maybe we only need one of those iron carts.
That
Assuming
would
we're
be
in
a
good
good
shape.
idea.
Okay, so who's going to go fetch the blacksmith and who's going to the farmer?
Brittle will probably go get the blacksmith.
I guess, yeah, I'll check out the horse. And
I'll go with the blacksmith.
Okay, so we have Zygmunt going to the farmer, and you all are going to the blacksmith. Let us start with Zygmunt then, since that's just a one-on-one conversation that should go quicker. It would take you probably an extra hour of walking once you leave the gates to find the farmer's field. Not too difficult. The directions you're given were pretty straightforward. And luckily there aren't too many pasture farmers this far into the forest. So it wasn't impossible by any stretch. Getting there, you can find it's a very busy farm. You've got probably almost 50 to 60 workers out in the field, harvesting, preparing new plots, those kind of things. As you approach sort of the larger building, which seems to be the stables or the barn, you're greeted by what you assume is one of the people in charge. Certainly he's not toiling in the field and certainly seems to be directing others to be doing work. And he sort of waves and says, hello, well met.
well met. You have
How can I
quite the
help you
operation.
today? Oh, yes, we've been working on expanding lately. A lot of more money is coming through, and there's a lot more need for food from Forsheim, so it pays to expand when there's money to be paid. What can I do for you today?
Well, you mentioned the need to expand. We are expanding our own group, and in doing so, we found that we are in need of a horse and a cart. And we're wondering if there were any that you were looking to relieve yourselves of.
Well, we do have mini horses. What kind of horses were you looking to buy? Um, you mentioned a cart. Are you looking for like draft horses
Yes.
or riding horses, war horses, field horses, mules, donkeys? What what would you prefer?
A draft horse would definitely meet our needs.
Just one draft horse. So are you
Uh,
using the other horses you have? Are they draft horses as well?
I think so. I'm trying to think back to what horses we have. Pretty
Yes,
sure.
they would be draft horses.
Okay, then yes. We
Okay.
have 5 draft horses currently. We're gonna need a 6th for our carts.
If you'll follow me right back here, we have 4 or 5 available now. They're all fairly young, just about 4 seasons.
This is where I
one
get
right
to.
here.
I want to use my horsemanship to inspect
Please.
all of these horses.
Horse accounting.
Horse
All of
accounting.
the horses are quite tall, obviously very strong. Most of them stand at least probably 1.5 feet above the top of your head. They are broad-shouldered and definitely working horses.
So I don't need to roll or anything to check the quality of these horses. They're all in good
They're
shape.
good quality horses, but you could probably choose one that might be better than the others. That's
Okay.
up to you.
That'd be melancholic, I'm guessing.
Be melancholic, yes, and it would be you'd use. Do you have a move associated with that?
I
that
wish
would
I
make that better? No, okay. Well, maybe one day.
Yeah, maybe one day. Horse assessor.
Yeah.
Eh.
You can tell that all the horses are in pretty good shape. There are 2 that are probably the better of them, but all of them do seem to have some sort of some kind of a boring fly problem that seems to be infecting their haunches a little bit. It's pretty typical for this time of year with the snow melting, just wet air. Nothing that would prevent it long term, but if you don't look after it, you know it could become a problem.
Sigmund kind of walks up to one of the horses and kind of, well, obviously approaching it with all the respect that a giant animal deserves,
Right.
and kind of does his inspection and kind of gives it a gentle pat, and then looks back to the man. I believe this one will do just fine.
That'll be 250 Reichsgulden, if you please. At your leisure, of course.
And are there any carts that I could be parting with, that you could be parting with today as well?
Well, I do have some older carts. They've seen probably a few too many seasons, but I'm quite willing to let you have one. Let's call it 100 for the cart. It's a good, strong oak cart. But it's probably been used longer than it should have. It'll need new wheels probably by the rainy season. But it should do you for quite a while.
I think we established 50 to 100 for a regular cart was pretty
Right.
standard.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say he's
Yeah.
gouging you,
Yeah.
but he's giving you a rough number, so if you want to counter, you could.
Yeah. Would it be possible, since we would be leaving here today, if I could pay you up front to maybe broker a deal, maybe 300 for the pair?
Give me a sanguine, please.
Worked so well the last time. Hey!
Yeah, there you go. All right. Yeah, I can see that. It is an older cart. And the 2 would make a good thing. You can have the horse drive the cart back, save you a little bit of trouble, I suppose. Yeah. All right, I'll take 300 for both. Sure.
Very well.
Farmer just sort of seems glad to see them both go, so he doesn't seem that bothered by that price bunch.
Sigmund
More
will-
so, he has trouble pricing things than...
Right. Like, that sounds fair. Sigmund will pay the man and I guess hook up the cart to the horse and make his way back.
Just make note of that. There you go. Okay. So, you have a horse and a carriage. So that brings you to 6 horses. With a small stipulation about a potential
Wheel problem.
Wheel and or horse rump problem.
Right. Well, I'll take care of the horse rump. Don't worry. Wait, that sounded weird.
Yeah, that didn't come out the way you wanted to there.
Wow.
King
No.
shaming in the wilderness.
This horse's ass is fine by me.
Oh.
Okay. well,
Okay.
Oh no.
Is this allowed on Twitch? Are we gonna get banned?
no.
I'm pretty
Is it
sure
a brony?
Twitch.
We're marked mature. It's okay.
Yeah, we're marked mature. Clopping is allowed.
Oh, God.
Zigman is a brony.
No,
I'm
come on.
uncomfortable.
All right. So Zygmunt actually has been the most successful so far.
Hey, I got day laborers.
Hey, yes, at the end of the day, you will have day laborers, but it's still the middle of the day. They've been more successful in the time they've had. Kind of.
I'm doing God's work, and so is Brita. Our souls are gonna be saved.
And getting
You
gold stolen from you.
Not me.
I'm
from
doing
our-
God's work with my tits.
So
And
as
my
Zygmunt
mom
is riding,
Is probably gonna hear me
driving
yelling
his new
that.
cart and horse back to town quite comfortably. The cart is pretty good. It is. He wasn't lying. It is a cart that's probably been used, on a field probably a season too long, but nothing that would, it's not gonna fall apart in your hands, kind of thing. But it would be something that when you had more time, more resources, you might want to replace with something more sturdy.
Right.
But certainly it's nothing to scoff at. Back in Forsheim, Bertolt and Elena are going to the blacksmith. It requires the same kind of weaving and, sort of backwater route through town as you're probably a little used to by now, but is definitely the shadier part of town.
Yeah.
Can I get I guess it would be perception, which would be melancholic from somebody. Just one of you.
What's your melancholic, dude? Mine's 1.
Mine's 0, so you go.
Okay. You definitely notice that people are paying attention to you. No one's approaching you, but they're definitely paying attention to you. Especially Berthold's shiny armor. Someone who has passed through here multiple times. There's attention. Eyes definitely on both of you.
Shiny armor with probably some brain matter still on his armor.
Maybe.
Uh,
No,
Elena-
I would imagine it would have been cleaned off since.
Elena, I just remembered. Our blacksmith friend is a cripple. I'm not sure how we're going to get him to over there to appraise the cart.
Simple. We ask one of his sons instead. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I also just had that realization. Just Elena's gonna be
You
like,
guys
"Of
can
course,
ditch."
you idiot. We're gonna ask his son."
Oh
Oh.
God.
This is going to go over splendidly.
Fair warning, guys. You could ditch and be like, "Oh crap, we forgot he's a cripple," and walk away from this.
Yes, that's true. You are not committed
Yeah.
to the course of action.
You're not committed to this. You can walk away.
We could. You want to walk away?
Well, I guess since we have legs to do so.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to work as well as we thought it would.
Could we maybe? Is there another blacksmith we could possibly ask? There has to be somebody in the area.
Yeah, there's out of character. Where were the other blacksmiths that Berthold,
They were mostly spotted around the market. This is an older part of town, which makes sense because Kritzwald is an older blacksmithing family. Unfortunately, the area around him has degenerated since they set up their shop originally. The old market eventually sort of dried out and they built a new one sort of closer to the center of what is now Newtown.
Yeah, and Berthold couldn't trust those sons as far as he could throw, which, mind you, is actually probably pretty far. But
He's not a reliable.
yeah, they would probably they would troll them and say, "Oh yeah, like it's amazing" or "It's awful" or something. Berthold doesn't trust them. So yeah, let's go. I spotted some in the market wood.
That sounds like a good idea. But just it might not be a bad idea to keep a knife or something handy. We've been getting a lot of interesting looks as we've walked through here.
Knife girl, you see what I have right here? He pats his poleaxe.
Elena just kind of pans her eyes over the weapon and
I need a melancholic roll from Berthold immediately.
Oh.
Immediately.
Okay.
Immediately.
You're able to catch the sight of a piece of fruit just before it clangs against the side of your helmet.
can I reflexively try to grab it?
I'm gonna want a 10 plus success on
Fruit
a reflex.
catching.
No.
Damn it.
You reach out, it still clanks off and sort of, it's kind of a mushy fermented apple and drains down the thing. As you turn towards where the apple was thrown, you recognize somebody. It was the guy that ran away, and he has friends. It's sort of a complement of people, probably 8 to 9. They have sort of a mix of improvised clubs and stones, and
Bernal gets all the
enough of them that they're kind of blocking the access on one way. If you look around, you can see an additional 2 groups blocking the other. So this little 3-way intersection is starting to kind of close up, though the 2 other sides don't seem to be... In other words, they're not approaching you, they just seem to be more blocking the intersection than doing much.
Elena's look kind of sours and she sighs and just looks at Berthold and is like, are these friends of yours?
Yeah, he kind of like nods a little bit. It's like, good dog, gentlemen. More mistakes to be had today from you again. Yeah.
You killed my friends!
Yeah, and you tried to kill mine.
He survived.
Yeah. Like, luckily you didn't brain him. Now, gentlemen, I don't want that to harm you again. You saw what happened last time.
Listen, the way I see it, you killed 2 of my friends. Least I can do is return the favor.
You're welcome to try. I mean, it'll be a good lookout for the day.
And about that time, the 2 other groups start closing in.
Berthold would just literally just grab his poleaxe and start approaching the first group. Start like humming a tune, like a religious tune.
Okay, we're just banning Kayla from game now. At this point. She's just decided to give the GM shit. So, an apple comes out of nowhere and just bashes against the side of her head. Take a point of damage.
Aww.
And as she goes down, a dog walks by and hikes a leg, pissing all over her.
When in doubt, it's Southern
Fucking
Pole.
no! I failed another animal handling roll.
Gwen grabs her dog and pulls him back into the crowd, minding her own
You
business
don't
afterwards.
actually take a point of damage, but you do take an apple to the face. And no, you can't catch it.
Elena's look turns to sour apple cider.
Oh.
All right. Well, Berthold is going to give him a chance. Since he has range, I bet is he able to attack first?
Actually, they have range. They have thrown
Oh.
weapons.
Oh.
As you sort of start approaching, there's a hail of rocks that begin to come at you from the group around the first set.
All right.
Spin your pole arm, weave it up, man.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to use the Shield of Swings maneuver, phlegmatic. It gets a +1.
Okay.
Oh!
Plus, well,
No, you literally get bombarded with stones. Rocks are always kind of... people always feel that, oh, they're no big deal. But in enough of them, they can start to hurt. You take a point of harm. You're literally getting bonked around by these rocks, and your head is bouncing around in your helmet because.
Elena is going to be following right behind Bertolt, kind of using him as a shield since she's in much lighter armor than he is. She's going to be grumbling the whole way.
You're going to need to roll too. This is a barrage. This is basically a mob stoning you to death.
Would this be...
I imagine if you're being reflexive or graceful. Yeah, you're also gonna you're gonna take a point of damage too. I will give you the behind the big man protection of not taking 2 points, but you are going to take a point of harm.
How does this work? Is it what is it 3? Is it 6?
Yep.
What do I do?
Yeah, you go.
You hit 3.
Yep.
Okay.
It's a clock. So you mark the 3 o'clock position. That's your first point of damage. Anything below 9 o'clock is minor damage. Anything above 9 o'clock is potentially life-threatening. And midnight is midnight. Okay.
Well, Berthold is going to. He's pissed off now. He doesn't want to be pelted by fruit, let alone rocks. So he's going to brace the poleaxe in front of him, and basically charge the group and just bowl over the first person he comes across, and basically kind of like shove them into that, and try to like almost shove down people as he runs into them.
Right.
And then trample anybody that gets under his foot. So I guess.
So are you charging? Or are you shield?
Not
not shield, but shoulder bashing.
It wouldn't be shoulder bashing. It would basically be he'd be bracing the polearm in front of him.
Right.
Actually, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Actually, he actually would be charged with the polearm pointed at them, basically to impale them.
Okay. Well, you had said trample. That was what I was asking about.
Yeah. I had something else in my mind.
That's
so,
right.
choleric.
Oh yeah, there'd definitely be a choleric.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
The crowd kind of splits, kind of like you imagine that fish split when a predator swims through them. You're not fighting a single person, which is surprisingly easier. You're fighting a group, and as you kind of attempt to impale, the polearm kind of passes through the group. You see sort of a flash of steel. Clubs are not the only thing this group has on them.
Huh. Okay, he's going to try to raise his shoulder to deflect that. So another a choleric defense.
Actually, are you? Just a
yeah.
question. Are you actually deflecting?
Or
are you like just trying to? Because you actually can truly. You're wearing armor, so you can actually attempt to deflect. On a 10+, nothing happens. On a 7 to 9, there's potentially more complicated things, but you don't take damage. And then a miss is a miss.
Gotcha. I would say he's going to try to deflect with his armor.
Okay, let me show the players just so people can see. Deflection. So basically, you are going to roll 2d6 plus 1. Because you have standard armor at the turn.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah. Basically, there's a flash of steel as the sort of concealed blade, pops into one of the mob members' group standing at the front, and then there's the sound of clink as the blade just sort of bounces off the armor. So no ill effects.
At this point, Elena's going to be getting into the fray. She's going to see that concealed blade and go right for the person that's holding it, taking her knife that's already drawn, basically making an attempt to just slash this guy across the throat while his attention is on Bertolt.
Okay, that would be choleric.
Wow.
We've
This is,
apparently
this is not a great fight.
No, it's not.
I'm meant to be riding giant mountains, not fighting little people.
and then Jurgen and Brita showed up.
Shout out to Call of Cthulhu, who has apparently had their stink land on this game as well.
The two groups from before, now that you've pushed up to the third of the alley, have kind of closed in and blocked off the back, but they don't seem to be approaching. They're not trying to circle you in so much as drive you into this first group. They've stopped and they're just kind of watching. My knife
You
is jammed
fucking
in.
piece of shit. That's hilarious.
Yes.
Sorry.
As you kind of slash out, one of the other members of the group tries to bash your head in. So how would you like to counter that?
I'm gonna go with a reflexive dodge. She's gonna attempt to duck it.
You succeed. So at the very least, you don't get bashed in the head. Bertolt.
Okay, he is going to, so that didn't work out too well. He's going to raise the poleaxe above his head and pivot around and come down a diagonal slash on somebody's head.
Okay. It's Collark. Oh, you do kind of catch somebody, bring him to the ground, but most of the group is actually able to push against the shaft of the polearm, so you're not able to bowl people over as it was, but you have killed one member of the group. There's probably 8 or so remaining still, including your friend that's trying to shank you in the side. Speaking of which, another hidden dagger appears to your right this time.
All right, 1
It
second.
attempts to jab between the plates of your armor.
Everyone loves Berthold.
So my options are once again to deflect or either to dodge,
Dodge, which is a reflexive, or
reflexive.
deflect, which is 2d6 plus 1. Which, when you eventually get Clutter Panzer on, will be 2d6 plus 2, and so on, and so on, and so on.
Okay, and 1 second. And what was the roll table again? You had to get 10 or above to deflect?
No, 7 or above deflects, but there are complications. But I'll pop it up here.
Thanks.
10 plus, you can basically... no, that's harm, sorry. 10 plus, it deflects the damage entirely. And then if it does like 6 damage, it deflects it entirely. But on a 7 to 9, depending on how much damage it does, it could overpower your armor anyway, which means you take half harm. The armor breaks, but can be repaired, or the armor shattered, which means that it must be replaced. On a 6, you just take full damage. 6 lower, you take full damage.
Gotcha.
So it's a bit of a ballsy choice, but it also, unlike, it's another option. If you're a dodgy, smodgy character, and you have a high reflexive, that's one
Can
thing.
I still use, can I still use Shield of Swings? Basically, kind of like, because, he's basically going to try to keep the polearm moving and everything and try and ward away people.
Hold on a second. I'm not familiar with Shield of Swings, because it's new.
Yep, not a problem. It was from
But parrying aside, normal attacks effortlessly redirecting larger strikes, Bertolt is extremely capable of using his poleaxe. Parry strikes +1 to phlegmatic when avoiding strikes by parrying. Yes, but that would be a phlegmatic.
That's fine. Okay.
Okay. So basically it's +1 no matter which way you go.
Okay. Damn.
So, there is sort of that strange sound of a thin piece of metal sliding between 2 other pieces of metal.
Wait a second.
Okay.
2d6 plus 0. Oh, no, no, okay. I thought
5.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
You're gonna take 2 points of harm. They literally get you in the kidneys.
Oh.
So you're now bleeding through your armor at this point. That doesn't mean you're out, though. You are just gonna need the experience and skill of a practiced healer.
Watch us die right in the beginning of the
back
game.
and like, they were supposed to get a blacksmith. What the hell happened?
Bitch, I just patched you up.
All right, Elena.
So, is it possible to carry that dodge into a reflexive, like, counterattack action?
Yes, because that's a narrative thing, and go with it, but you can't use the same roll. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense. So, it was a shield.
I mean, mechanically, it's a new action, but game-wise, if you want to say I, like, bend out of the way Matrix style and come back and just slap the bitch, that's fine. However you want to describe it is up to you, but,
So reiterating what happened, it was a shield that he attempted to smash into my head, right?
No, not a shield, it was a club. Improvised club.
Club.
Mm-hmm. And you dodged out of the way like it was nothing.
Okay.
You got a 12, which is pretty goddamn good.
So we're gonna go for a straight stab into this guy's stomach. He's left himself open. Choleric probably?
That would be, yeah, if you're just going a straight stab. Yeah, you definitely get a piece of him, but he still seems to be standing on. You didn't down him with that strike. Like, you got a quick jab into him, but it didn't take him out of the fight, and he is going to swing to strike. So give me a reflexive. Ah, you are going to take 2 points of harm now, since you're wearing light armor. Unless you would... No, that was your dodge roll. So, yeah, you're going to take 2 points of damage.
So 9 now, right?
Yes. Now is the time where you need to be aware of the damage you're taking. So.
Yeah, we're getting close to death here.
Hey, don't die.
I know.
Can't fix that. I can't make pretty bandage origamis on death.
I mean,
Actually.
Oh. Well.
I don't think we're gonna really win this, considering that we can only attack one person at a time, and
Push through, make a hole, bolt.
yeah. Well, that's what Bertholdt's gonna do actually, because he's realized that he could individually he could kill any one of these guys, but they overwhelm them. So he's going to literally try to push ahead.
All right.
He's going to basically grab Elena's arm and bowl through the vest. All right, collar.
Okay.
Come on.
That's a colic. That's successful. You're actually able to push the crowd aside. The person you kind of killed was holding somewhat of an open slot at the back of the group, so all you really had to do was knock aside 2 or 3, which, considering your size and your weapon size, was not terribly difficult. There's definitely there's sort of some half-hearted swings at you, but nothing that really connects. Elena, are you just going along with it, or are you going to try something fancy while this is going on?
the only thing that she's going to do is she's going to keep her knife up behind Bertholdt and kind of try to face backwards as he's dragging her along, just to watch their back and make sure that they don't get hit from behind without knowing about it.
Okay.
And hopefully deflect the shot,
There's, as you kind of run through, there's stones lobbed at you, but after a certain distance, their accuracy drops away to nothing. They use their bigger stones in the opening volley, and they're left with mostly what they could carry in small pouches and pockets. They can't keep them heaped up in their arms anymore. And you're able to get out of the alleyway. Bleeding. Both of you look quite the worse the wear, but no one's down yet.
Lena's kind of breathless and just kind of looks at Bertholdt after taking a breather and is just like, remind me not to think of any ideas ever again.
I think I have to agree with you. Oh, God.
And about that time, the evening bell rings at the church. About this time that you were supposed to meet back up with the rest of the group at the inn.
Elena lets out a curse. Come on, Bertholdt. We need to go.
Let's just see how far I can go before I bleed out.
Do you need a shoulder to rest on?
Maybe in a bit. I think I'll be okay right now.
Elena's not really in much better shape, but she's kind of hobbling along.
It's so good to see the Romanians and the Germans getting along.
Let's see how long that lasts.
Being nearly killed together kind of brings people together.
It always brings people together. Okay, so, you're definitely not gonna probably bleed out, but you're not gonna be doing the mile run anytime soon. In fact, you two would be the last to show up back at the end. The first would have been Zygmunt, followed by Brita and Jurgen, and then you two, sort of hobbling in, bloodied and, well, a little bit exsanguinated, both of you. Not like to the point that you're going to pass out, but you look pale.
Brita just sees them immediately. He's just goes, son of, what did you do again?
I had a bad idea.
We were killing alligators, you know? Yeah.
Zygmunt's like immediately out of his chair and rushing over to help both of them to a table. Brita, get your equipment.
Yeah, I'm on it. And she's, rushing over to get her shit again.
What the hell happened to you two?
Oh, that son of a bitch that ran away when they attacked us earlier. Well, he got friends, a lot of them.
The man who attempted to rob us earlier gathered a mob.
We tried to fend them off, but they circled us and, well, they managed to club her very well, and then one of them got a knife between one of my joints. And
did they follow you?
I did not see. I don't
Would
think
Elena have been able to see that?
If you want to roll to have noticed it, sure. You didn't notice anything.
Jurgen grabs a pitcher of ale across the inn, walks it over, and pours both of them a cup. Does this quietly before heading back over towards the bar and looking at the mistress of the inn and saying, "You wouldn't happen to know of any thieves who could gather a mob on short notice?" And this time I'm going to use my spy ability. Let's see, ear to the ground. Jurgen has an ear for rumors and hearsay. He can often sniff out individuals who possess knowledge important to him and his mission.
Yes. Go for it.
Okay, is that going to be melancholic?
Yes. It's whatever the stat is associated with it. She seems a little confused at first, because the Adult Adder is actually in Newtown. It's a fairly nice part of town. But she does seem to, after a while, she kind of says, James, no. Jeremias, no. I think maybe one of the Haber boys, perhaps. You didn't have any fights lately, did you?
Well,
I mean, other than those two right there. Did you get in a fight with three brothers?
I believe those would be the three brothers who attempted to rob us the other day.
Well, they're not necessarily thieves, technically.
What are they?
Well, the Haber brothers, see, they're the sons of one of the local innkeepers. The Haber Inn, it's over in Old Town. It's probably the largest tenement house in Forsheim. You didn't pick a fight with them, did you?
Oh, they picked a fight with me.
The Habers are considered fairly ruthless. The sons have always been seen as kind of dumb and lazy, but the father is apparently quite vicious.
Elena would interject at this point. Zygmunt, can you go tell the caravan guard to tighten security?
Definitely. In fact, Zygmunt's already halfway out the door to make sure that there's not a mob assembling outside the inn.
Jurgen's following him out, although for different reasons.
No, it's pretty quiet outside at the moment. Most places are starting to wind down. There's town guard out passing on the streets. You are in Newtown. It's a relatively quiet part of Forsheim. You don't generally get a lot of mobs. Not that it's impossible. It's just would be highly unusual.
Upon
A group
seeing
of thieves, maybe. A mob?
Upon seeing the town guard, Jurgen is going to walk over to them immediately and step out in front of them. I'm going to need to speak with your captain immediately. I need to report a crime.
Well, then go to the barracks. Why are you in our way?
Because I would like it if you pointed me in the direction of the barracks.
The man points back towards the main entrance of the town, and then walks around you.
God be with you, Jurgen says as the man puts his back to him, and then he's going to start heading off to the barracks to speak with the captain.
Okay.
But I think we should probably heal up.
Yes. Brita.
Brita's making origami. Alright, let's see. What is that again? It is melancholic?
It is melancholic, yes.
Okay. Rub my hands together, blow out my palms. Okay, this is not awful. I didn't make it worse.
No, you didn't make it worse. On a 7 to 9.
And who is that for? Is that for Alina or Bertolt?
Oh. Berthold I'd probably address first, because he seemed to be the more grievous.
Give me a roll 1d6 for me, Locus.
Locus?
Not Locus, Zach, sorry. Bertolt.
Sure.
Oh, not me?
No, not you.
Okay.
Assuming you're healing him first? Or
Yes.
are you healing... Okay.
Oh.
Oh, well, this is fun.
Uh-oh.
Your patient becomes addicted to humors and will require to consume one stock every 24 hours or so for -1 melancholic until a week has passed.
Oh god.
You little shit.
This is some good shit you got there.
My supplies!
So, yeah, you need to mark off 1 stock.
I don't have any stock. I was just using standard first aid. We never
He's
restocked
9, you need to be using stock.
I don't have any.
Okay.
I thought it was acceptable for me to just use, like, normal human first aid and not, like, outer first aid.
Anything from 9 past is life-threatening.
Oh.
Isn't that what first aid for?
What?
Kind of, but you don't have the medical experience that actual first aid skill in, like, something like Call of Cthulhu or even a lot of other things would allow.
We have bile.
Can I just slap some bile on his wounds and call
I
it
will
a day?
allow you to stabilize it. How's that? You can stabilize him, but you are going to need stock.
Alright, because now he's a needy little shit.
Okay, and you need to roll for...
Elena.
Yes.
Alright, come here.
I'm gonna make a GM fiat here and just say, this time, since we're still learning, I'll let you do it.
Okay.
We'll assume you have some stock. But the next day, you're gonna want to trade some of your barrels for stock.
Alright, good to know. Thank you very much.
Alright. There we go. Okay, yes. You are just going to start healing her at
Back to the origami.
Oh, well, I ignored my own rules. I'm supposed to choose 2 on a 7 to 9 and 1 on a 1 to 10. So, Berthold, roll another d6 and Elena roll 1d6.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry. I forgot 9 roll. Anything past 9 is really... Okay, 1. Shit.
My supplies.
Okay, Elena, you have suffered a bit of a concussion, which is entirely appropriate. So you're going to be down 1 sanguine for the next 2 days. Next 48 hours. Berthold, you are first given one of the stock, and you throw it up.
You are gonna bleed me dry!
Because you had enough of it in your mouth to develop a taste for it, when you take your second stock, you become addicted.
You little shit! So Focus, while you were gone, I need medical stock is the update.
Yay.
Like yesterday.
So there we go. And they will start healing at 1 a night. Because
Fucking heal up, you little shit.
bile is magic, effectively.
So Elena, seeing Bert Holt throw up, since she's got a concussion, immediately throws up.
No! Why would you volunteer to waste my shit?
No. See, that's the difference. She throws up. She doesn't necessarily... You may not have even healed her yet. You don't know that. She just throws up when she sees the throw.
Alright, so she throws up. Brita's not cleaning that shit up. Brita's shoving medicine in her ungrateful little mouth and then putting origami bandages on her head.
There's just... Helena is just, oh my. And she's just mopping the floor.
With her hand.
No,
Aw.
with a mop.
I'm so sorry.
That poor little innkeeper
It's
woman.
okay. It's okay. It's not the first time. I wouldn't be a very good keeper if I wasn't used to a little bit of vomit.
Elena's just slurring. I'm sorry, ma'am.
Okay.
You need to
So,
lay down.
you all are stabilized. You are still counting as 9, but tomorrow morning you will be 6. Okay?
Unless we get ambushed in the night.
I'm not saying anything.
Oh, nice.
So,
That
Brita,
GM tone.
you have done your job.
I am useful.
You
Boobs
have
and
used
bandages.
up all of your stock that you did have from GM being generous, though.
Thank you very much, generous GM.
And then Bert Holt threw it all up, and then she didn't have enough, and then...
Everyone's
Bert
puking on the
threw
floor.
one up, and then he nursed the bottle on the second one.
Frida had to pry it away from his mouth and made a little pop coming off of his lips.
But hey, I wasn't done.
Go to bed!
Oh.
It's like a fucking 6'11" large German man being told to go to bed by a 4'3" little German lady.
She is not 4'3". I know most of my characters are short as fuck, but she's not one of them.
She's 4'3" with triple G titties.
Alright, you're not allowed in character creation anymore.
Jurgen.
Jurgen's gonna
You're
meander
going
on
to-
over to the barracks.
When you get there, you find that the captain is kind of overseeing the switching of shifts. The night shift is still getting dressed and getting their armor on and heading out, while the day shift is coming into bed.
Well, Jurgen's going to politely wait until the captain isn't immediately busy. Anytime he gets sort of a pause in his duties, that it wouldn't be interrupting something immediately happening to step up. And Jurgen will just simply start by clearing his throat.
Captain's like, no, put that over there. You, shine that weapon. Wait, oh. You were one of the Aderjaegers from earlier.
Yes, and Captain, it's good to see you again. I did
How
speak...
can the town's guard help?
Well, it appears that unfortunately we've been a victim of some sort of insidious organized crime. They first attempted to rob us, and when that attempt cost some of their men their lives, they sought retribution on a couple of my comrades. Apparently they were ambushed in Old Town by a mob. I have a name, but personally I would like to speak with the victim, of course, to determine his degree of guilt, although I do have 3 witnesses who would oath on his involvement.
Who apparently did this?
Would you remind
Inciting
me
a
the
mob
name,
is a
please?
serious... It's Haber.
Ah.
Haber.
One of the Haber brothers.
You see the town guard just kind of sucks air in past his teeth as he kind of, with the kind of universal, ooh, kind of like, yes, I know the Haber brothers. In fact, I pulled 2 of them out of the Addled Adder's alley a few days ago.
Those were the ones that attempted to rob us. It did not go so well, and apparently the surviving brother has somewhat of a grudge with us.
Well, Isaac is fairly dim-witted and aggressive, yes, but he's not the one you have to worry about.
Is it his father?
Actually, it's his grandfather. His father's known for his viciousness, but unfortunately he is not the brightest man either. But the grandfather's sharp as a tack. He controls most of Old Town.
That is troubling. But still, his grip on Old Town or not, justice must be meted out, Captain.
Of course, and I'm sorry though. There's not much we can really do. Did you kill Isaac? Is he dead?
To my knowledge, no. He continues to breathe.
That's too bad. That would solve most of this problem. Unfortunately, Old Town is dangerous enough for my guards as is. As long as they stay on their side, we generally are able to control the amount of crime that passes through Forsheim. But if we start making inroads, I fear we may have a full-on riot on our hands.
See, but you cannot let this insolence fester, Captain.
It's not about letting. You have to understand I have other regular citizens that I have to look out for. What do you think would happen if they marched a mob into the marketplace? How many stalls would they burn before this town loses most of its income? I understand what you're saying. It is horrible. It is frustrating, and it should not be left to stand, but we must keep the peace. And if we go and press too hard on the Haber family, we'll see Forsheim burning by morning.
Yes, but if you allow their insidiousness to fester, soon their kind will reach out towards spreading across Forsheim like a cancer.
Listen, Jaeger, I know you're new to this town, but you have to understand, we've kept the balance for a reason. It's difficult to handle because they outnumber us 10 to 1. And they're able to pay and bribe and move whoever they want into town. Now, if you're willing to tell me you're willing to go in there and handle the problem personally, that's one thing. But as a town guard, we have to be seen as fair and not pressing one way or another.
I'm sorry, Captain. Did you use the word bribe?
No, I did not.
I just wanted to be sure. Please continue.
The man sort of leans down. He is taller than Jurgen. Jaeger, understand. This is not fair, but if your friends are alive, and you've killed 2 of the Haber brothers, I would consider that a fair trade.
Jurgen sort of raises an eyebrow and tilts his head to one side, staring at the man, before simply saying, "God be with you, Captain," and then he simply turns to leave.
Be careful, Jaeger. You don't want to push too hard on that. They're more connected than you think. But if you kill him, you have my blessing.
Jurgen's gonna head back to the inn.
Alright. It's dark enough now that no church bells will ring. People are heading into bed. Obviously the taverns are still quite full. People will be drinking into the early hours, but at the Aderjaeger, it's quite quiet. Is there any discussion you'd like to get in before the end of day?
Well, when Jurgen gets back, he's going to tell Zygmunt primarily, and then the company as a whole, that the guard will not be of much assistance, and that at the very least they should watch out for their own. And after sort of making that announcement and agreeing, since we did talk earlier a little bit about doubling the guard just to be on the safe side, Jurgen's going to pull up a chair next to Bertolt and lower his voice so as not to be heard by the entire tavern. Do you wish for revenge?
God, we're gonna wake up to half the town on fire.
Vengeance. They've wounded my pride back there, but I don't know, Jürgen. Is it wrong for a man of God to take vengeance against their foes?
It is not wrong to strike the evil from the earth, although at the same time it is godly to forgive and forget.
But at the same time, Bertolt, we're not the Lord. We do not have to forgive and forget.
No, we are not, and especially when we are facing such godlessness, these heathens could stand to be burned out. Although it would be a daunting task to take upon ourselves with no assistance from the town guard, since apparently they are in control of much of Old Town, and I have my suspicions that many of the town's guardsmen may be in their pockets.
Such corruption. Typical of these towns.
It truly is a plague, and it would be good if we had evidence to make an example of perhaps one of them. The sight of a man burning on a stake can invariably turn the hearts of the most hardened heathens.
Breeda's oh shit senses are tingling. He's doing it again.
Elena's just nursing her head, like, oh my god, this headache. And she's just like, but didn't we already kill 2 of them?
She can't hear him.
Yeah,
Oh, wait.
he lowered
Wait,
his
where are
voice.
they?
He's just talking to Berthold.
I have a concussion out of character.
It's okay, go lay down out of character.
Bertolt would slowly nod, kind of wince it aside, and be reminded of this, having to deal with all this again and everything, and thinking about potentially other Aderjaegers and other travelers having to deal with this corrupt family and the potentially guards who do not care about their plight. Yeah. I think they need to understand the seriousness of this sickness they have in this town.
I shall see what I can arrange, but for now, my friend, get some rest. You've had quite a day, and you'll need to heal. I'll speak to Zygmunt in the morning, I imagine. At the very least, I can enlist his help to some degree.
Yeah, there's Holt's brother.
God is good.
And I think at that point, we'll call it for tonight. Thank you all for joining us for another episode of Aderjaeger. Join us next week as we see some resolution to the Haver problem in Forsheim. And the party never leaves.
Yep. And please, join us this Thursday for The Shield Against Midnight, and again this Sunday for Voices in the Wilderness, here on Tinker Tabletop. Have a good night, everybody.
Burning people.